Hi Scorpios, and welcome to your May 2022 General Tarot Forecast. This is Sky, coming on to talk to you about your month ahead. I hope you're all doing really well. Check out these energies coming up for you. It's going to be a transformative month, to say the least. We have eclipse season happening on your axis. We had a solar eclipse opposite you in Taurus on April 30th. And then we have a lunar eclipse in your sign on May 16th. What does that mean for Scorpio? Well, I will be looking into that for you all in this reading. I will give you some intuitive messages, followed by a week-to-week tarot forecast and an extended reading on Patreon. If you like the reading, give this video a thumbs up, and check out the extended on Patreon as well. Okay, so yes, if you're getting this reading early, or if you're thinking about your month ahead in April or in early May, it's going to be important to prepare for the end of May, okay? We want to see a winding down. We want to see a knowing that things will get easier, okay? We want, I think, as Scorpios, to have an easier time and to have a more simple, more easy way of life. So a lot of the month of May for you is going to be about planning or installing or fulfilling an easier life, and a life that gives you more, at the same time, leeway or more of a direct connection to the path that you want to. So it's not about making sacrifices. It's not going to be about, letting go of your dreams or letting go of what you want, but it is going to be about pulling out of some things, or pulling out of certain, time-wasting mechanisms that you've developed in your life, leaving certain addictions behind. And some of you need to take a second look, I think, at relationships, or at where your loyalties or commitments are, because I do think some Scorpios might be being taken advantage of, whether this is in a personal, romantic, or business sense. All of these relationships could see you giving too much or overcommitting. So the month of May 2022, with these eclipses happening on your axis, is going to disconnect you from some of that stuff. So this, depending on your vibration, can mean a few different things. So let's talk about the difficult first, and then let's talk about the positive. So if we're a Scorpio who is struggling with vibration, illness, or some type of fear spectrum or trauma cycle, what I feel this eclipse is going to introduce is a perhaps forced separation. So you could be broken up with. You could also have a lapse or some type of decrease in business, decrease in clients, decrease in output as well, or decrease in saturation of your creative pursuit. And that would end up actually being a very positive thing for you, or it would end up helping you to actually step onto the path that you need. So if you do have that, or if you do have an experience of loss or release here, know that it is meaning to be a good thing for you. It is not meaning to be hard. It's not meaning to be, sad. All right. This is really meant to be actually a graduation, okay? Or a knowing of an oncoming graduation. So to me, the year of 2022 for Scorpio looks like a graduation. That's been the word that keeps coming to me for your sign. And actually, 10 of Swords and 10 of Wands indicate that as well. So any 10 is like finishing a story, ending that cycle, stepping out of purgatory, stepping out of that gray zone. And some of you are doing that here in May, or some of you are prepared to do that now, and you know that it's coming. So first of all, I want to extend congratulations to Scorpios who are graduating, or who are choosing to complete a certain story. That is going to be appropriate in almost every aspect of your life. All right, we have the nodes on your axis. We have eclipses on your axis. We have Uranus. So there could be some unexpected transformations. You might have pinpointed a certain place in your life. You're like, that's where I'm going to finish up. That's where I'm going to make changes. And it might be kind of surprising where they actually pop up, or how many places end up getting elected in your life for renovation, graduation, or release. So again, if you're struggling, or if you're feeling like your vibration is low, that's got to really be the main thing that you work on here. And you want to really know that those last 2 weeks of May, that's a very prime time to fix that or to heal from that or to work shamanically or energetically to overcome those energetic splinters or energetic wounds. But I do feel that one way or another it will end by the end of the month. So your any difficult experiences, any Scorpio who needs to kind of look back and assess as well is very supported to do that here in the month of May, especially in Taurus season. But I mean, it's going to be there in Gemini season as well. Like looking back and thinking, was that the right call? Was that the giving path? And is this in front of me exactly the same or different? We've got to take stock here. And these eclipses provide you on April 30th and May 16th the perfect dynamic to make a judgment and to, for most of you, fulfill it. And then for some of you, plan that fulfillment. Now, if you're a Scorpio whose vibration is feeling good, if you've been healthy, if you've been making up for lost time, if you've been getting your together, and nonetheless you might feel tired, but you know that you're on the right path, congratulations. You are having a huge elevation this month, or you are going to start to have more happiness and more power, I want to say. Not power from the ego sense, but literally just like raw power, like raw energy. It's not going to be hard to make your living anymore. Okay, for most Scorpios actually, coming at the end of the month, you're going to resolve any type of business confusion that you've had. So that's nice to see for you all. Or it's going to happen between now and July. By July 15th, I see Scorpios having totally resolved any confusion that they had about income, wealth, or any disparity that they were experiencing with poverty mindset. So that's totally possible and most likely between now and June, and for many of you in the month of May. So that's going to be wonderful to see. I also see Scorpios solving a lot of stuff. Okay, you are a problem solver here. You can choose to utilize this eclipse energy to solve a problem and to also relinquish or exit this confused space or exit this sort of blindfolded territory. All right. Also exiting anything that you don't feel is above board or exiting anything that you have doubts about. We do have the Five of Swords here. We have the Knight of Wands. We have Ten of Swords as well. Situations, whether these are romantic or even like health-based or business, whatever it is, whatever sector of your life this falls into, if there's any like feeling of like shadiness or like, wow, I don't know if I can trust that person, or I don't know even if this industry is right for me, things could start to get weird and dark with that combination. I never like to see Five of Swords and Ten of Swords together. It's not a problem if your vibration is high. It usually, in a high vibration, that combination of archetypes is like kind of a allowing of oneself to finish the difficult story soon. So you can like skip from the 5 to the 10. You don't have to go through all of that trial and tribulation. You can just end it now. That's something that some of you are facing, but also if the vibration is struggling, it can start to be like weird. So anything that's like a house of cards, anything that is sitting on an unsturdy foundation, I mean, that's a large part of this current nodal axis that we're on. So investments, anything that we don't know how it works, okay? Anything that we have a lot of reliance on luck or a gambling mentality, such as, NFTs, cryptocurrency, stocks that we have no clue how that company even works, or what it really does. Also blind purchasing or anything like that. This is going to start to feel dark or weird this month. So it could even be at a climax of darkness or a climax of weirdness. You could be seeing some people in your life, or even some people could be having like the urge to be like, you know what? Yeah, I'm going to cash out my retirement and buy, all of that money's worth of a cryptocurrency I just learned about last night. That's quite astonishing to consider doing. And basically the cheat code for this, to fight fire with fire, for those of you who get it, you get it. The cheat code for this is to ask oneself, did it ever make sense when I ever had no options in my life? Did it ever make sense to invest everything I had into one thing? Did it ever make sense to spray on the entire bottle of perfume at once? It's kind of the energy with like South Node in Scorpio, lunar eclipse in Scorpio, Jupiter, Neptune in Pisces, the North Node in Taurus with the Sun in Taurus, that eclipse. Some of us are really forgetting about the allure of subtlety or the allure of that light fragrance rather than that overpowering fragrance. It's kind of like losing track of a taste for some people, and it's not even just Scorpios, but like you want to think about that Scorpio. You're such a kind of like primal and kind of strong fragrance or strong essence to begin with. So if you're like dousing yourself in really strong fragrances, or if you're kind of being too skewed or crazy within a certain archetype or a certain commitment as well. So 10 of Wands has never looked good on a Scorpio. It doesn't look good on anybody. And it's high time for 10 of Wands to pass. Okay, I'm like, here we are in May of 2022 and it's still there. And we have to really take stock and ask ourselves, like, what else is there for me? And do I like this 5 years from now? Do I like this, 10 years from now? It's so powerful to think about what we want then and how we can maybe consume less or get more money's worth for certain things. There's something that's just way too over-energized. So for some Scorpios, I definitely see, overeating or overspending or overworking. It's needing a very tasteful reduction for some Scorpios. And that can start in really small ways. So we can start it with our own like aesthetics or our own, daily living experiences. And really, by the end of the month, you're going to be kind of a know-it-all, or you're going to have it figured out. Like, I think you've had it figured out for a long time, but it's kind of like getting from where you are now to where you know you want to be, or where is a more maintainable or sustainable experience. You know what you want, and you should, even by the end of the month, know exactly how to fill in those gaps. And for those of you who are there, I mean, congratulations, go for it. But for those of you who are still confused, which is probably not most of you, but, just in case, if you're confused about how you get from a sort of hyper laborious, hyper consumptive vibe to a more maintainable, more light experience of life. Okay, if it's not clear, you're probably like too contracted or too obligated to something, like a unfinished business, which is fine and makes sense for the 2022 year cycle. But try to think about deadlines and try to think about like, if you are super contractually obligated, again, fight fire with fire. Like think, okay, yeah, I do have to do this for X amount of time just to, complete what I initially set out for. Though, by this period of time, there's going to be a more simple structure, and it has to be. And I'm going to maybe get very, very detail-oriented about the scheme of events or scheme of, steps that one takes in order to get to the place I want to be. Or, some of you honestly can just like say, okay, it's done now, or, June, July 2022, it's already done. Basically, Scorpios, it's kind of like not a very linear situation that you're in. So it's a super open world vibe for Scorpio. You could take this a lot of directions. You can really get to the next objective in many, many ways. And that can be hard for Scorpio. Scorpio sometimes likes a more linear path, or like some more, directed or clear path forward, and you might just have to create that for yourself, and that's actually a very powerful place to be. So a lot of this difficulty that I'm seeing, if you are experiencing difficulty, is just like having the freedom to craft your own path. And if we don't like that, I guess we can always step into a semi-authoritative space in life instead of a maximal authoritative space. Basically we could just, I don't know, go give our authority over to someone else and have things decided for us. But I don't think that that's what you want either. So here might be a wonderful time to enjoy the fact that this is your call. So let's talk about your week to week really briefly. I talked for a long time about your intuitive messages. Week number 1, you've got the 5 of Swords rooted down by the 8 of Cups. So walking away from anything you don't feel totally good about, so that's pretty self-explanatory. Also walking away from people who are narcissists or thieves or like totally vampiric or parasitic. Okay, 5 of Swords is like somebody who doesn't play by the rules, or somebody who doesn't also act honorably. So we want to really identify any type of dishonor or any type of people in our lives who also hit below the belt. That's what I think of with 5 of Swords. 8 of Cups, rooting that down, is a walking away. So we're walking away from that instead of cherishing that, right? Because Scorpio is a power player. Scorpio, tends to really be able to identify people's vulnerabilities. So Scorpio can very easily get into 5 of Swords because you know where people's fragility is, you know where people's weak point is, and how easy it is for Scorpio to like strike at that and win. And this is something that we want to get out of and transcend as Scorpios, because wouldn't it be incredible to channel that same energy into like your exaltation as a person? I think that's the best thing that we can really see from this reading, is like Scorpio might be having a lot of energy, like manifesting into like understanding what happened to them before, or wondering what other people are doing, or thinking about betrayal of the past. And I just think that you have a lot of energy there. Like that's representing a lot of your investment. And what dividend does that pay? That's like, I don't know, pushing you towards being like a psychoanalyst, or pushing you towards being a relationship counselor, or pushing you towards being like an addiction specialist, or even an astrologer, in this current climate. And sure, I mean, those are great callings. And if that's your calling, it's a beautiful one to have. But what I'm trying to illuminate here is like being unaware that we're manifesting a certain path for us that we don't know that we're manifesting for ourselves. Can we get an amen for that? Sometimes we make energetic investments, or, the universe really pays attention to how we invest our energy or our thoughts or our past or future tripping day by day. And it manifests or generates a certain outcome based on that may or may not align with what we actually want for ourselves. So you might be thinking, okay, yeah, I want to be a super like wealthy person, or I want to have a successful business in life. But at the same time, your day-by-day thoughts are like thinking, wow, that person really did me wrong. Wow, I really got betrayed by that person in the past. Wow, I really was out of control of myself before, or didn't have my own autonomy before. And that is not a congruent energy for like having a healthy business, or for having like wealth, or a sense of autonomy. Again, it's like a thinking about like, okay, yes, maybe I can identify that I have a really, hypothetically here is potentially some Scorpios out there. Perhaps I can identify that I want to have a sense of independence and wealth in my life. But at the same time, I'm thinking about somebody from my past every single day. I'm like not able to get over the way somebody mistreated me before. But I want like independence. So we have to really be able to think about like, what are my thoughts and my daily patterns actually manifesting for me? Okay. So we essentially here start to see the Scorpio who wants, I don't know, a super successful business, or wants independence in their lives, starting to manifest a very subpar kind of like salaried position as like an independent contractor relationship specialist on some kind of like peripheral internet company or something. But at the same time, they might not realize that that's like really a nightmare situation for them. And they might not realize, like they might, you get what I'm saying? Is this like the most perfect example? Sorry, Scorpios, it's a late night reading. Hit that like button for late night readings. This is the most perfect example of like the worst situation for a Scorpio to be in right now. It's like, I'm an independent contractor as a Scorpio, hypothetically. And I have independence now, but it's doing something that I do not like to see for myself, but it is independent, but it is like peripheral, and it's not an exaltation for me, But it's like, even in that situation, Scorpio, you have to be exalted to like manifest your way out of it. So yeah, now you've got to be like the best relationship specialist on that peripheral internet company, and manifest your way out. And you can learn through that, and that can be wonderful. But here in May of 2022, it's going to be kind of like, okay, also, here's your most exalted position, or your most exalted romantic partner, or your most exalted relationship possibility right here. But then we also have the position as the independent contractor, as the relationship specialist over here on the peripheral internet company that we're working 60 hours a week at. And Scorpio can choose one or the other here. So that's an interesting crossroads to be at, that I would think, presented in that fashion, most Scorpios would be like, okay, yeah, let's choose the exalted position instead. Let's go with like, the super activated path. But to finalize this message, like thinking about the past, or thinking about that betrayal from the past, thinking about that person from the past, thinking about that Five of Swords experience that you went through, that Ten of Swords experience that you went through all those years ago, will not be in alignment with this new exalted path, that will be in alignment with the peripheral experience. Okay? Because it's now a sideline of your life. It's not the focused meat of your life anymore. So the key, Scorpio, is walking away from that a little bit. Eight of Cups, not destabilizing yourself. It's fine to be an independent contractor. It's beautiful. Like, really take enjoyment of what independence you have in whatever form that's manifesting. But also, I feel like there's got to start to be like an Eight of Cups kind of like movement here, to making it like your own. Like, maybe, okay, if you love doing your relationship counseling, or if you love teaching people about healthy relationships, why not start your own YouTube channel and make it at least like a non-peripheral internet company? Or why not, I don't know, start hosting meetings in your community, and like really getting like community standing. Like, again, this is like if the relationship counseling or whatever it is like your calling, and not just like a way to pay the bills. We need to see, as Scorpio, some type of further level of independence or movement towards a more exalted space, and hopefully the combination of those two things. And the first week of May is already going to have you kind of moving towards that. Okay. Also, in the first week, make sure that you're not involved with any type of sketch. Okay, you guys will know what I mean. No sketch. Okay, 2022. I don't even know how people get away with anything. Like, but one shouldn't assume that they ever could. Okay, in this hyper surveilled world, there is no privacy. Okay, so one shouldn't think that there is. Week number 2, you have the Queen of Swords rooted down by Knight of Wands. Okay, and we have a little bit of a segue in this reading, as by the second week of May, Scorpios, your energy has totally shifted. And I think these eclipses, so second week, especially moving towards like third week, once we get the eclipses totally behind us, I love what I'm seeing here, actually. You have a chance here to totally move on to an exalted path, or to totally exalt yourself. Again, the word exalted is coming up here. So any Scorpio, being that we're having eclipses on your axis with the nodes in your sign, like the nodes can always be a vehicle towards exaltation. And yes, they can also bring up a lot of like, false light and weird desires as well. But Queen of Swords is like good planning, and Knight of Wands is like incredible drive and creativity. So, you can figure anything out here. You can know exactly how you move from point A to point B. Like, you can get behind yourself. You can know exactly what you want now. And I mean, I think for any Scorpios who are willing to step up to their calling, it's a beautiful, beautiful period of time. I love the second week for you. It's a congratulatory time for you as well. Again, quite a graduation energy, and quite a final thrust for some of you in a long-running project. So like the last performance, or the last round of difficulty, even for some of you, before a wonderful respite. So third week, Page of Pentacles rooted down by Ten of Swords. Recovery. Okay, I don't think there's anything bad. I'm not reading this Ten of Swords as a bad experience for any of you. It's more like a sudden stop or a sudden relief. So there's a sudden finishing, there's a gauntlet ending, there's a winding down, and sometimes that can be harsh. If momentum stops really quickly, that can be hard, whether it's physically or mentally. So kind of prepare yourself for a halt in momentum in the third week, and prepare your body for that. Like, you might want to not go cold turkey, all right, with your effort. So you might prepare yourself like some nice, I don't know, things like a traveling or exercise or events. If you do see that you're like finishing, I don't know, a semester in school, or if you're finishing a long series of events, try to find a way to keep yourself on a moving momentum so that you don't experience too harsh of a stop. And also, while you are blessed with an incredible amount of creativity and logic when it comes to future planning, I would also, as a Scorpio, take comfort or confidence in, and this is an interesting message, in what I knew or what was known to before be a solid state of well-being. Because I do feel there's something kind of colored or shaded with stress here. Page of Pentacles and Ten of Swords. So yeah, totally acknowledgeable. You can figure stuff out here, but also you might be like under duress here as well. So I want you to think about like how your own tendency to push yourself or place pressure on yourself might also be getting you out of the bounds of like really sober decision making here. All right, we need a period of time, I think, and I think the next few months for Scorpio will be a wonderful time to get the mind in the perfect place to make all the perfect decisions. But yes, here in the third week of May, you kind of want to coast too. So yeah, I understand lots of different messages, but that's part of it too. We kind of might just have to be on the structures we have here too. Page of Pentacles and Ten of Swords. Some of this stuff might just have to work also. Week number 4, Queen of Pentacles rooted down by the Ten of Wands. Wrapping up, finishing. Some of you are preparing to go on vacation. It will be recommendable, especially if you've taken time in the latter half of May to slowly wind down and not have like that sudden stop. But yeah, some of you need to understand how a more sustainable experience becomes possible. And some of you need to also just admit that you enjoy having a lot on your plate, or admit that you enjoy sometimes the feeling of like overworking or the feeling of endurance. And how can we channel that in a more exalted way? Ooh, that's beautiful, Scorpios. What is a higher channeled exaltation or a more exalted state of managing a lot or having a lot on your plate? How can that be more high vibrational? And yeah, let's talk more about that in your extended reading. So thank you, Scorpios. I hope you enjoyed the reading. I know that this was a lot of different messages coming through, but I do think it's just part of having so much energy placed into your sign. Be sure to check out your sun, moon, rising, though, as well as, it might be good to get a look at where the energy is less placed, because it's definitely on you and Taurus this month for sure. But yeah, I'm going to do an extended reading, and we're going to get much lighter there. We're going to take a more simplistic look at things for sure. So come check it out. If you haven't tried the Patreon page, I recommend it. You can get all of the signs, all of the extended readings, and weekly bonus tea chats where I detail the week ahead only over there. So come check it out, Scorpios. I really enjoyed your reading, even though it was complicated. Okay, let's talk soon, and have a beautiful month. Bye.